The world's attention is currently focused on China because of its achievement of a supernuclear technology. Because of its significant role in the construction of nuclear weapons and stations, nuclear power has been in the forefront of public discourse for several decades. However, there have been many other difficulties. One of them is the presence of highly radioactive materials, which pose a significant health risk to the people who live in those areas. There is no doubt that nuclear energy is the most effective kind of energy. But in order to create adequate energy, a certain quantity of nuclear material is required. Nevertheless, maintaining control over such nuclear power facilities is a challenge. The handling is so delicate that even a small amount of negligence has the potential to bring about a disaster for the entire city or possibly the entire nation. Across the world, nations have been working to develop technology that can bring the radioactivity of nuclear materials under control. Nuclear power reactors are utilized in the processing that is carried out at the nuclear power station. The technology that such reactors would utilize, however, are extremely important. In the event that this is ignored, the results may not be significantly different from those that were seen in Cornwall. Disaster. What kind of cutting-edge technology does China possess that other nations, including the United States, are aching to acquire? Before we go on, subscribe to this channel to watch about the most amazing world projects. Ready? Let's begin! In this video, we will discuss the newly developed cutting-edge technology that China has developed. This is the piece of technology that the United States offered China $50 billion for, but China declined the offer. Let's get started. Since 1945, when the United States began to make use of nuclear energy for the first time, people all over the world have been attempting to harness its potential advantages. Countries are increasing their stockpiles of nuclear weapons because they are aware of the potential that is associated with the use of nuclear energy. The damage caused by nuclear bombs dropped on Japan in 1945 just shattered the collective consciences of nations throughout the world. No nation has ever before anticipated the potential devastation as well as prosperity that the use of nuclear energy may bring to humankind. On that particular day, the entire globe joined the competition to develop nuclear weapons. As a direct result of the event, a number of countries have become nuclear powers. However, the use of nuclear power is not restricted to the production of just weapons of mass devastation. Other applications exist. The days in which many thought nuclear power posed a danger to humanity are long gone. Today, nations are interested in harnessing the potential of nuclear fission in order to generate the kind of electricity that can keep whole nations and their factories running. Nuclear power is today inextricably tied to economic expansion, technological advancement, and overall prosperity. Nevertheless, this presents a challenge. During a nuclear reaction, nuclear energy poses too great of a risk and is too delicate to be utilized by any country. The amount of energy that is being released is so enormous that if it is not brought under control, it might result in a major nuclear explosion. Because of this, several nations have abandoned the use of nuclear power to meet their need for energy. It is possible for these issues to be resolved by the construction of reliable nuclear power reactors. The use of these reactors would guarantee that the utmost amount of energy could be recovered from the radioactive fuel. In turn, this will bring about two benefits that might potentially remedy the problem that is caused by nuclear power. To begin, nations would be able to derive the greatest amount of electricity from the least quantity of nuclear material. In the past, we were only able to extract and make use of 1% of the total power contained in nuclear materials. However, things are getting better now. Second, if the maximum amount of energy is extracted from the nuclear material, then the radioactivity that is left in the nuclear waste will be minimal. In a nutshell, this means that nuclear waste may then be disposed of in a simple and secure manner. However, at this time, nations are only capable of extracting 1% of the total energy available from nuclear material. As a result, 99% of the energy has been preserved, creating nuclear waste that is extremely sensitive and difficult to dispose of. The new supernuclear technology that China has developed comes into play here. The Venus 2.0 power reactor, which China successfully developed, is capable of extracting the highest amount of energy possible from nuclear elements. Studies have shown that this nuclear reactor is capable of extracting 90% of the energy contained in the radioactive atoms that it uses. As a consequence, this results in nuclear waste that has very little or no radiation. In the future, This nuclear waste may be disposed of in a safe manner. However, countries that started the process earlier would need to spend more money on the construction of secure storage locations for nuclear waste. As a direct consequence of this issue, the United States has been spending more than $6 billion a year on the secure disposal of nuclear waste. The fight to construct nuclear reactors that were both highly efficient and completely safe began in 2005 and resulted in the construction of Venus-EO. On the other hand, as stated by the Chinese researchers, the nuclear power reactor that China has currently constructed is on an entirely other level due to its advanced technology and the lead-bismuth alloy cooling material. It is possible to make effective use of the nuclear material's fundamental energy. The innovative Venus-EO power reactor has the capability of generating 1,000 megawatts of electricity. The size of the reactor may be altered to meet the requirements of the process, which results in increased productivity. Simply said, China is able to extract the maximum amount of energy possible from each and every nuclear atom because to its Venus-EO power reactor. In the same vein, when nuclear material is utilized, the radioactivity that is left in it has a very limited half-life. Nuclear waste may be safely contained for a limited period of time before being disposed of. China is a country that requires a significant quantity of electricity in order to keep its manufacturing operational. To meet the requirements up to this point, it has relied mostly on fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and natural gas, with just a modest contribution from nuclear power. However, after China completes production of the Venus-EO power reactor, it will be able to meet all of its energy requirements on its own. Not only that, but other nations have been able to catch up to China thanks to its supernuclear reactors. The United States of America and Japan have contacted China in an effort to purchase the technology that underpins the Venus-EO power reactor. The technology was given to China by Japan for around $20 billion, but China turned down the offer. The United States government submitted a higher bid of $50 billion to purchase the technology. However, China did not take advantage of this offer either. The Chinese government is adamantly opposed to the idea that any other nation should have access to potentially catastrophic nuclear power facilities, because it has been conducting tests on nuclear reactors for the past 17 years. China is quite knowledgeable about their safe operation. On the other hand, this is not the case with the United States of America and Japan. Without the Venus-EO power reactor, the United States and every other countries are forced to pay billions of dollars for the safe disposal of their nuclear waste. And this is exactly what China is looking for. If a nation wishes to make use of nuclear power, it will be required to increase its financial outlays in order to maintain stability. However, if China were to offer them with the technology, they would utilize nuclear energy without any controls or safeguards, which would end in a catastrophe. What are your thoughts? When it comes to the United States and other nations, will China ever export the Venus-EO power reactor? If this were to happen, every nation on the planet would be aware of the ways in which nuclear energy might be exploited. Comment. You may read more in the comment. The use of these reactors would guarantee that the utmost amount of energy could be recovered from the radioactive fuel. In turn, this will bring about two benefits that might potentially remedy the problem that is caused by nuclear power. To begin, nations would be able to derive the greatest amount of electricity